scale. We talk transferability. I'm Joe Carter, founder of the Twin Flame Group and partner with the Franchise Consulting Company. Built, scaled, sold multiple companies, including in the franchise space, and I've also sat inside private equity rooms where more than $14 billion of deals were vetted. So I know what makes buyers chase and what makes them walk. And today's guest, he has built a mosquito business with a bite. Michael Moorhouse is the president of Mosquito Shield, one of the fastest growing franchise brands under the five-star franchising umbrella. With over 400 territories and expanding, Mosquito Shield proves that niche services, when done right, can dominate. If you're looking to build a business that runs without you, stacks recurring revenue, and commands a premium upon exit, this episode is for you. But before we dive into it, quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Dallas Fort Worth Pierce Bespoke, the go-to clothier for founders and executives who want to look as sharp as they think. If you've built a business, now you need to go build the look. Pierce Bespoke will craft custom pieces for founders who know that presence is a part of performance. But let's jump into it. Michael, welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Excited to be here with you today.
We're super excited to dive into this. You have helped lead Mosquito Shield's national growth. What's been the single biggest lever that drove that scale?
I think initially for us, going all the way back to 2013 when we launched as a franchise company, it was a really wide open space, right? And then because we've been doing this longer than anybody, I think as some competition have come and gone over the last 12 years, I think just our legacy, our history. I've always told people the most important thing about our history is that we have one. So when you're partnering with us, you're getting true IP, true trial and error, our own proprietary product, our own proprietary equipment, and some of those things start to stand tall when you're matching up against others.
100% couldn't agree more. IP and proprietary are the two buzzwords that everybody throws out there, but you all have really lived and breathed it, so I love that. What is the kind of common myth about franchising that you think should be debunked?
That it's just a like a self-driving car, that it's just a business in a box and you don't have to do anything on your end. I mean, certainly you should be buying into a system that's got a lot of policies and procedures and things in place for you, but you're the one that still has to show up every day, unlock the door, be there, flip the shingle around, tell people you're open, wear it on your sleeve. And I think that is one thing where, you can get a little bit lost as you're navigating as a candidate looking for a business opportunity, making sure that all those things are truly there. Everyone touts training and support, but like dig deep, look at the support system, look at who you're going to be, in the trenches with every day. But I think that we've had it in our own system where owners come in thinking that they don't have to do the day to day, they don't have to have the grind. And that's something that no matter what business you're opening, whether you're doing it on your own or you're doing it under the umbrella of franchising, you got to show up.
I love it. That's like quite literally the equation I tell all my clients. It's great to have systems and processes, procedures that you can kind of copy, paste, and model. But if you don't put in the effort, you don't put in the grind, you're not getting it. It's grind plus systems equals value. So I love that.
Yeah, love it.
What most people wouldn't think about mosquito control is that it's a seven-figure franchise model. What makes that a smart bet for people who are out there exploring the space?
Well, so another interesting story, again, going back quite a ways, but when we first launched in 2013, our guidance with the consulting company we'd used to build a franchise system was that, out of the first 10 owners, 5 are probably going to come from the green industry, pest control, lawn care, tree and shrub, landscape, and 9 out of the first 10 were white collar refugees. We only had 1 landscaper out of the first 10, only 2 out of the first 20. So we quickly found that no one ever saw themselves getting into pest control for a living or killing mosquitoes, but they saw the quality of life service that this is, and that they would use it and they would be able to get behind it and sell it. So I think that was an eye opener for us, is that we quickly realized we were being sought after and attracted to people that were looking for that jump from the white collar world to being a business owner. But what could they get behind? What could they sell that they were passionate about? And that's what we are. We're a quality of life service. Mosquito control allows you to stay out in your yards as long as you want, as late as you want, and not having to cover up in sprays or be in long sleeves and yoga pants at night.
I love that. So, in addition to that kind of lifestyle pivot, what are some of the other differentiations that, because you've referenced, you guys were the first in the space, but you've had plenty of competition along the way. So, what differentiates you in the market?
Yeah, well, I'd go back to quick mention of the proprietary product that we've developed over the last 20 years. And while it's an all natural product and that's got a nice feel good angle to it, it's significant because it's an added layer of protection on the yard, and it just gives us better results than anybody else. And then, we spray more often than everybody else because we did that through trial and error. We learned that a 21 day, which is most common, most mosquito companies come out every 21 days. We learned a long time ago that doesn't work. There's no product on the market that can really hold up to the environment that long. So we spray on a 10 to 17 day, so about every 2 weeks on average. So we're on your properties more often. We're quicker and more efficient when we're on the property, so that means we can charge the homeowner less. So we're coming out more often, we're giving better results, and to the end user, it costs less. So it's sort of a win-win for them.
100%. Less cost for both the franchisee, less cost for the customer. They get the service more frequently. You get a chance to be out there and see them and build the rapport. Simply fantastic. What makes a franchise quote unquote turnkey in reality versus on paper?
Well, I mean, I think, again, we talked a minute ago about systems in place, right? And when you're partnering with a company that's been doing this for 23 years now, I'm going on my 18th year here, and we just had our team meeting this morning, and it feels like it's year one for me. I'm as like that excited about heading into 2026 as I've ever been, and that's my 18th season of shepherding this. So I think from a turnkey standpoint, you want to know that you can follow a system, and you've got other owners that are there alongside you as well and can say, yeah, we did it, it worked, and stick with it. And there is some component to ours. It's a little bit more difficult, Joe, because we are mostly seasonal. Most of our owners around the country have a start time and a stop time.
Sure.
Certainly when you get down to the deep south and into Florida, the season tends to run closer to a year-round control program, but most of the other locations are 5 to 7 or 8 months. So the first 2 years are difficult because you're scaling. You haven't been open. It's not like you are in frozen yogurt and you open on day one and you've got 12 straight 12 months of being continuously open. This is you open, you close, you open, you close. The first 2 years are challenging because of that, but then the scale ability after that and the margins are so strong that you can scale a business that's only open 7 months out of the year that's generating annual revenue.
That's amazing. And I know your brand, Mosquito Shield, along with really the larger five-star franchising model, is known for world-class support. So what does that actually look like to a franchisee that buys into the system?
Yeah, being part of Five Star has been a life changer for us and for our owners. We were acquired back in March of 2022, so heading into 4 years under their umbrella, and just the scale and the magnitude of shared services that drive value to owners across all of their brands and that gets passed down to the owners. So shared services with marketing, shared services with IT, less important to the owners, but we've got shared services with accounting. Like it's just, there's so many things we've got a vendor buying group that, we have over 130 vendors that are giving specific deals just to Five Star brands and their owners. So Mosquito Shield franchisees can log in and see all the deals that are available that nobody else could get. They couldn't get off the street, and it just drives value by being part of a larger entity. And Five Star, I mean, they're founded by franchising giants with Scott Abbott and Chad Jones, and they're really all about the owner success, unit economics at the owner level.
Unit economics, that is quite literally the thing that if you're looking into a franchise, you got to dive into the unit economics. It's your make or breaker.
Mm.
You referenced earlier that it probably will take you a couple of years to really scale this because of the seasonality impact that there is. So how do the top performing franchisees approach growth?
Yeah, I'd like to take a minute and unpack that because I feel like it's one of the reasons that many people get into this type of business is because of the quality of life and the seasonality, where you've got 4 to 6 months where you're you're down. I don't like to say off. We used to call it off season, and then a couple of years ago we realized it's really the wrong way to look at it. So we call it peak and non-peak, right? You should never be off of your business or out of your business, but certainly take the time to recharge your batteries and regroup. But I think the owners that have been super successful have come in well capitalized so they can get through that first 18-month period, right? So if you're buying a location and you're in the Midwest, out in Michigan, you're not spraying until May. So even if you buy in February, you're not opening until May. You might start some early marketing in April. Maybe you get some revenue coming in, but really May is when it happens. You're done by the end of September. You turn the lights off, you park your van, and you're done. And you have to wait until the following May. So now you've been an owner on paper for 12 months, but you've only been open for 5. So so I think the owners that have the top performers in our system, they've had some staying power because they've been capitalized enough. They might have still had a W-2 that kept them going until that year 2 or 3, where they could then go all in on the business. And then there's been no looking back. I've always called it the blessing and the curse, right? The curse is the the 2 years. The blessing is the payoff on the backside of it, where you do have that downtime. You are making great margins in a short period of time, and it gives you a lot of options.
I couldn't agree more. Like the old adage is true. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it, and that applies in the franchise space. And you got to be in it. It might take you a little while to get there, depending upon the concept that you select. But the payoff in the end is always worth it if you put it kind of that grunt work, that grit work in at the beginning. Fantastic. What does the data say about like the ideal franchisee profile? I know you mentioned capital heavy, someone that can kind of ride the wave at the beginning, but what other profile type things, personality traits, whatever you may want to call it, creates the ideal franchisee?
Yeah, our perfect candidate is really a husband-wife team. We do incredibly well. And honestly, when I mentioned earlier about like most people don't consider themselves or think of themselves as killing bugs for a career, most of our best and most successful franchises in Mosquito Shield are run by women. So, their husband may maintain the W-2 or vice versa, but one of them is all in on the business on a day-to-day, but they work great together. They understand each other's skill sets. So they seem to do really well. And then I think the other part of it that we've learned over the years is, while you can do this as an owner operator in the first couple of seasons, and we definitely encourage you to, at least the first year, to really understand the day-to-day and to be in and out of the van, that's not the quickest trajectory to growth. It's getting a technician in the van, and you being in the business and in the community growing it is the fastest way that we see our owners scale.
I couldn't agree more. Having been in multiple franchises myself where it was a similar style concept, you have to be out there promoting yourself, your brand, and you can't be doing that if you're executing the service. So you do have that capability to go back and forth so that you can create the brand awareness needed in order to scale to.
Yeah, there's certainly concepts out there that encourage that and are built for it. So you're getting a smaller territory. It's more of the, the MVP, the man in a van with a plan. Like, that's just, we see a much bigger picture than that, and we want bigger scale and chance to build some real equity in something and generational wealth. And so this is definitely, we look at this, and we have since 2013 with, again, bigger territories, lower fees. Like, we want people to really see the opportunity and be all in on it.
I love that, and I'd love to go a layer deeper if we could. Obviously, y'all have sold north of 400 territories, but you got many, many, many more available. Last I looked, it was north of 300 territories are still available out there. So how are territories defined within your space?
Yeah, it's another unique thing for Mosquito Shield. We look at our target audience. And again, I mentioned our history and that we have one. We have so many years of data. We can tell you exactly who, as an end user, has the highest propensity to buy our service. And that's what we want to sell you in a territory. So I know there's some concepts out there that'll sell you a population. But if any percent of that population isn't your target audience, you can just peel those people off as never being able to reach them. So over a certain age, under a certain age, under a certain income level, we look at single family homes, household income, net worth. Like, we have it really dialed in on who's gonna buy your service after you buy the territory, and then So that's how we model it. It's after a very specific data profile.
That's fantastic. And obviously, you mentioned a few times already, your first couple of years might only be roughly 5 months or so, depending upon geographically where you're located. What does that initial push look like from a marketing standpoint that seems to work best with a new franchisee?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We take the same mapping software that we use to sell a franchise, and then Joe, you buy it. We go back into that same software and say, okay, you own 15 zip codes, but these are only the three we're going to market to initially. Like it needs to be super concentrated and hyper focused on where's the lowest hanging fruit because you have such a short window. So where can we get the most traction and the most out of our marketing spend and our effort? Like there's a lot of grassroots efforts that we're asking owners to do in the first couple of seasons to build awareness, get the name out there, and then over that we layer in a lot of the digital tactics. But to get the most out of a spend, and not everyone has a blank checkbook when it comes to marketing, like we got to be very surgical about how we grow. But that also has added benefits. So it leads to route density. So as you're growing over a couple of years, you're not driving around all 15 zip codes. Now you'll certainly take business from there over time, but you want to be really concentrated so your truck is as efficient as possible. And then what that leads to is higher visibility. So you're in one neighborhood longer. People are seeing the truck more. They're seeing the signs in the ground, and that just gives you that kind of that groundswell. So that's how we approach it. It's going to be very surgical for the first couple of years. And then, we look at the data and we see where we're seeing trends and getting traction from. And, maybe we picked 3 zip codes, but organically this random fourth one is pulling in traction and we can shift and adjust. But it's very strategic how we approach a launch or a grand opening.
I love that. I love that. Obviously, there's such thing as an FDD, a franchise disclosure agreement, in which someone has to sign an NDA in order to get access to. And so there's certain things based upon the state where you're located we can or cannot say publicly until you sign that NDA. And not everybody in this audience has done that yet. Although if you want to reach out to me, we'll get it knocked out. But without going to degrees in which we can't go to, can you give a ballpark range of what the investment level would be, working capital needed or necessary, and typical trajectory or margins?
Yeah, our item 7, which is an estimated opening investment, which is what most, everyone has an item 7, and ours runs right in. You take the low and the high. I think we come in the middle somewhere about 110,000, so it's still very much a low investment opportunity. On top of that, we typically look at 150,000 in capital available. So again, low cost of entry, no brick and mortar needed. You can certainly start with a home-based business. You need a driveway and a water supply to run this business. So again, we don't want to encourage that for years. Where you're going to expand and move out and need to have a place to park minivans. But to keep costs down, you can certainly run home-based to begin with. So it is definitely considered a low investment opportunity.
Fantastic. If you don't mind, I would love to ask you some kind of leadership or your own personal growth journey. I know you've been with the brand for, I think you said 18 years, if I remember
Going on
right.
18 years. Yeah,
18 years. That's a fantastic tenure that you've had with them. And obviously you've led different people throughout that process. Is there a mindset shift that helped you go from kind of an operator in your earlier years to more of a strategic leader that you are today?
Yeah, I had to learn and still learning on how to delegate and build strength around you. That's just something that I struggled with even pre Mosquito Shield and in my earlier careers of just wanting to do it all yourself. And I think through 5 Stars leadership, and we brought EOS into our system, which I was not familiar with prior to 5 Star. So we run EOS pretty tightly, and just had my L10 this morning. And I think through learning underneath Scott and Chad from 5 Star, and really again embracing strength, and bringing in some people. We had to make some difficult changes over the years to do that, but making those difficult decisions changed the entire trajectory and complexity of our business. Like it is put us on a different path, and we've built such an amazing team over the last really 24 months. We've added 4 franchise business coaches. Again, you look at like what does a parent company or even private equity bring to franchising, it's been nothing but positive for me and Mosquito Shield. I mean, we've got resources that we never had before. We've had an injection of capital that wouldn't have been available otherwise. I mean, I was asked just recently, how many full-time employees did you have pre 5-star and how many post, like right now? And I think we went from 6 to 18, 19 full-time employees, and hiring more, right now as we speak. So that is just like, what do you need to scale? And here it is, go do it.
All of that. The intentionality there in terms of growth development, not just increasing headcount, but really increasing capacity and capability. So that's fantastic. That not only you, but obviously 5-star backing you to be able to leverage that and have that level of strategic growth is amazing.
Mhm.
You said it earlier. The most important thing about history is that you have one. And you all have a very strong history, Mosquito Shield. So your history is your history. There's always still the future. What's next? What is the next thing for Mosquito Shield as it continues to mature and evolve?
Yeah, no, great question. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier, I mean, we have unbelievable white space available. So we didn't do anything else. We still have an incredible opportunity to bring this service to many communities and bring a lifestyle or a life change to many business owners in these communities, right? So first and foremost, we got to stay on that path and stay focused about that. You play that role in franchise development, right? Like you bring candidates to business opportunities. So we have a huge runway there still ahead of us, which is really exciting. We've added additional services. So we're a couple of years now into perimeter pest control, so spiders, ants, other creepy crawler things. So we've been the leader at mosquito and tick for 20 plus years. We've since added perimeter, so that's a whole nother revenue stream for our business owners and growth opportunity. We also have Decorate with Lights, which is a holiday lighting business, which syncs up really well with our really super seasonal locations that are done in September or October. You want to retain key personnel, you can add on and bolt on Decorate with Lights. And we've now launched into, so we've taken holiday lighting and we've pushed that now to permanent and landscape. So new revenue streams there. That's spinning off as its own standalone franchise agreement in here in 2026. So that's something super exciting. So, we've got Canada to look into for expansion on the mosquito front. So there's a lot in our future.
The growth sounds nothing but bright for you and the team, so that's fantastic. You've already had a substantial amount of growth, especially here recently, as you mentioned, going 6 to like 18, 19 team members. Now you have the support mechanism to continue and pour gasoline on that fire. So can't wait to see what happens in 26 and beyond with your brand. If there's a person that's listening to this episode and is like, this is what I've been looking for, how do they get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, I like him to email me directly, which is michael@moshield.com. And I extend this on anytime I have an opportunity to be on a great platform like this, Joe. I extend that to anybody, even if they're looking at other concepts, even outside of mosquito control or pest control. Like I love encouraging and helping people make a decision about business ownership, much like what you do in your world. I love doing that. I field those calls. I'm happy to get on them. I'm happy to help people unpack business opportunities. And we mentioned earlier, like proprietary, like what really is unique about a business opportunity or what you should be looking for in business opportunity. The concept has to absolutely cold know who their customer is, where they live, and how they act, right? So demo, geo, and psycho, like you got to know that. What are the three uniques about that business? Like those are the things I can help people look at. Certainly how we've modeled Mosquito Shield, of course. But yeah, michael@moshield.com. I'm always available.
Love that, love that. Well, also, if you're watching and you want to know, just scroll down to the bottom in the comments. We'll put not only Michael's email, but all the links to the social channels so you can really check out and vet this brand and make sure it's a good alignment for you. And when you're ready to pull the trigger, reach out to Michael or myself. We'll help you get across the finish line and validate that it's right for you and creates a legacy for you that lasts. Michael, this has been fantastic. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we should talk about when it comes to Mosquito Shield?
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot, Joe. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. I love, obviously, the passion hopefully comes out on what I have for this brand, and I've been doing it for a long time. But I I do think that it's an amazing business opportunity, and I think I always encourage people to pursue that and at least learn more about it.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And the passion definitely came through. Y'all are building more than a franchise. You're building a durable, recurring revenue with now multiple streams of revenue, showing founders what smart scale looks like. So, for anyone out there, if you are looking for a great fit that is both owner operator but has the potential to be more passive down the road as you grow and scale, Mosquito Shield is something you should definitely look into. Feel free to DM me Blueprint. I'll be happy to provide you with this and many other brands that would fit your niche. If you're listening and thinking that I want something like that, also check out our next live webinar on February the 8th, the 18 Play Exit Readiness Framework. The link will be in the comments as well. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to the 5-Star Franchising and Mosquito Shield team. What you do for your franchisees is beyond phenomenal. It is legendary. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you being on today, sir.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe.
And thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. See you all.